Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of a Doctor Who reaction. This is Hard Live. My name is Matt, and before we begin, before we do anything, I would like to give a quick shout outs to Mrs. Yasmin Khan for coming out as either a lesbian or a bisexual lady in the previous episode, and a quick shout out to me for being a dumbass and not paying attention to that and completely missing it somehow. I got that on the editing later, and it is not on your face, but it is pretty implied that she has a thing for the Doctor, which well, I don't necessarily like whenever characters have a thing for the Doctor, but fuck it, just like I appreciate that they just decided, fuck it, let's just make Yas a lesbian or bi, and I made this prop. I sorry about the quality of said prop. I don't even know if you can tell with the video quality that this is supposed to be a lesbian flag and this one is supposed to be a bi flag, because I really didn't have a lot to work with, and I wanted to make like a generalized like rainbow flag. But the problem is that I didn't have the colors to do so. I only had this five to work with, and so I thought, well, fuck it. I think I can make a lesbian bi one, so I made this one instead. I just Googled lesbian flag, and I think there's like 6 of them. So I just picked the one that Google gave me first. So I'm sorry if that's not the one that people use nowadays. And the bi one I made because we don't know which one Yas is yet. I don't think. I'm assuming it's one of these two, and I know for a fact that there are bi people there that feel like they are underrepresented. So I didn't wanna not include them in that flag. So I just made both. So yeah, that's the story of my prop. But yeah, I just wanted to apologize for missing that previous episode, because the first comment on that episode was, "Yo, you got chat?" And I'm like, I did afterwards, but I didn't get to talk about it because a lot happened in that episode, let's be honest. So I was focused on a lot of that, and like what actually I think happened is that whenever that line of dialogue was dropped, it immediately shifted into like a ghost operation thing. And here's the thing, is that I don't know if you can tell, and I do this a lot, but in this channel I have a hard time paying attention to things, and often, whenever there's important lines of dialogue that I should pay attention to, I don't actually process what was said until like at least 10 seconds later. Like, I often am thinking of some other shit, and I register the words, but I don't register what the meaning of those words were. And then 10 seconds later, I'm thinking about the words, and then I'm thinking about what they meant, and then I'm like, oh! I do that a lot, which is why you'll find many cuts in these reactions of me, like, a word or a line of dialogue is said, and then there's a cut to me being like, yo! And it's because it took time from one to the other, right? So I think it was one of those, but it immediately shifted to like a ghost apparition, so my attention went to that and not to what was said, so I missed it because of it. So yeah, I just wanted to apologize for that. With that out of the way, let's talk about what actually happened in the previous episode. It was called The Haunting of Billa Judali. I'm so defeated whenever it comes to pronouncing whatever the fuck the title of that episode was, Diodati. So here's the thing, is that I actually don't know how that is pronounced, but I don't care, because you guys understand what I meant. And my take on language is that as long as the information is delivered, I don't actually give a shit about what was said. So I'm just gonna pronounce things whatever I want, and as long as you guys understand that, it's fine. So that's my take on language. But that episode was fire. It was like the second best one in the season after Jadun, and that is saying a lot because we had Spyfalls, and we also had like the Nikola Tesla episode, which was really good. So yeah, I oh yeah, we had the mental health episode too. Well, I don't think it was that great of an episode. It was just appreciated. But yeah, I that episode was great. And what actually happened in it is that we finally got the lone Cyberman being revealed to us. But before that, we actually got a little bit of a haunted house kind of story with Mary Shelley and Lord Byron and Mr. Shelley. What was the name? Percy, and some other people that they were all historically they all hung out at like a house for like a summer, and that's when Mary Shelley came with the idea for Frankenstein. So that's when it was conceived. And we showed up at the night it was conceived, and initially it was like, what is happening? They're not like hanging out, they're not coming up with anything, and this is the moment where it should happen. But then the all the fucked up shit started happening, and the lone Cyberman showed up. And then it's like, okay, so she got the inspiration from the Cybermen, because that Cyberman was not fully converted. It wasn't a full robot. It was it was more of a cyborg. I think cyborg is the one. Yeah, cyborg is the one that is half and half. Well, not half and half, but like part and part. But it was more human than any other Cyberman we've ever seen. I think. So it wasn't fully converted, and there were even hints that Mary Shelley dropped as like, are you made of multiple men? Like, what are you? And it was like a lot like, yeah, you are the inspiration from Frankenstein. You know, it became pretty clear. So we gave the lone Cyberman what it wanted, which was the Cyberium. And so the Cyberium was like a material that came from the future that I think it was name is Percy. I don't want to say that it was and then get it wrong. Yeah, Percy Shelley. So he actually found the Cyberium, and it embedded into himself, and he became the Guardian, which means that he had full knowledge of future events and everything regarding the Cyberman Empire. That is the thing. And he became like perception filtered up, so people weren't able to perceive that he was there. So he was essentially invisible to everyone, and he just started freaking out, and he had all this knowledge running through his head, and he just kept writing on walls and everything. But when the Cyberman showed up, it became clear that he was like, no, nobody can have this. He can't have this. So he just hid, and he just shifted the house. He was like the game master, so that nobody could actually ever get to where he was. Just so they wouldn't take the Cyberium, right? So eventually, we have to take it away from him, because otherwise it's gonna kill him. The Cyberman is gonna take it away from him. And we actually give the Cyberium to the Cyberman, despite Jack's warning. And the reason why is because we had to fight time itself. And that is something that we cannot do. And I really enjoy that, and it made the episode make a lot of sense of why the setting was such. Because it is something that is very important. It's very crucial from like a historic setting. Like, imagine a world without Frankenstein. I'm pretty sure that would be very different, because Frankenstein is a very influential piece of literature. Everybody knows it. So like, whenever you make something that everybody in the world knows about, they just hear it and they go like, oh yeah, that thing. That is very influential. So a world where that doesn't happen would be a very different world. In any way that we don't know about, it would be. So the setting becomes, you give the Cyberman this thing, or this doesn't happen. So the Doctor becomes this. So because it's not even that we gave it to him immediately, it's that we took it away from Percy, and then we had to give it to him when the Cyberman threatened Earth. And the Doctor realized, no, Earth doesn't end in like the 1800s. And it's like, well, so that's when she realized that she had to give it to him, because otherwise that's just not how time works. So we became prisoners of time. We had to make sure that the universe didn't implode on itself because we defied the laws of time. And we had to condemn the lives of billions of people in the future in order to do so. And my favorite part of that episode was the fact that we get to see a little bit more of Dark 13, a darker version of the 13th Doctor. And I talked about this on the previous episode discussion. But the thing I really love is that 13, I think, is like a lawful good character. Like in D&D alignment terms, she's like a lawful good character. And the thing about lawful good characters is that they have a code, they have a clear line of morality to define, and they live up to that. The problem becomes whenever they are put in a situation where they cannot live up to said code or morality, and they have to make a choice. They are forced to make a choice that does not compute in their brains because it doesn't fit to the things they believe in. So the 13th Doctor ends up being in a position where she has to make a choice of like, I kill this guy or I kill this guy, and then the entire world is fucked because Frankenstein doesn't happen, right? Like everything is changed, and it's like that's not how time works. Like I can't do that because I know that that's how time went. I cannot change that. So I have to take it away from him. And then the Cybermen threatened to destroy Earth. And then she was like, I have to give it to him because Earth, like, billions of people don't die on Earth on the 1800s. Like, I know for a fact that that's not what happens. So that's another point in time. It's almost a fixed point in time because it's like, yeah, like, I know that this is not how it goes down. So I have to give it to him because time demands it to happen. So she just does it. But she knows in fully well that in doing so, she is condemning billions of people in the future. The Cybermen Empire, or whatever the fuck that is supposed to be. She knows that everything that she's doing here helps to that goal. But she cannot not make sure that goal happens. She cannot go against it. She cannot go against time. And that's when she broke a little bit, you know? Like, that, like, conversation with, like, Ryan and everyone else when she's like, you know, this flat team structure doesn't work out here. It's like, I'm the only one atop of this mountain that can see everything that's happening and the only one that can make a choice, you know? And I enjoy that so much. I think that is a fantastic thing to put on this Doctor. I think it's amazing, and I'm excited to do that, and I'm excited for what things are to come moving forward. So, yeah, I think that's mostly what I want to talk about our previous episode. Let's just move into Doctor Who Series 12, Episode 9. Let's go.
That which is dead can live again.
Debatable.
In the hands of a believer.
Ooh, that was a weird. That was a nice transition. Ascension of the Cybermen. Okay, good title. Let's go. What am I looking at? Is this real or the past? Unreal. Dream. Past. What? Okay.
We look after him.
Okay. We're just gonna steal a baby?
Until you find the parents.
Okay. Better. I hate this stock baby sound effects. I hate him so much. I've heard them so many times.
He's ours.
Okay. We just stole a baby. Brendan? Should I know who Brendan is? This is a lot of backstory for a character that I'm assuming is gonna matter. Also, this is too happy, so I'm expecting it to not be happy.
We're in the very far future.
Okay.
Immediate aftermath of the cyber wars.
Okay.
Cybermen have hunted down and wiped out the majority of the human race.
Yeah, disheartening. Not the first time.
A handful of human life signs down there.
When you say a handful, What you talking?
7. I'd say that's the last remaining human settlement this side of the universe right now.
Yeah, there's more on the other side. It's fine. Cyber ships.
Question. Would you like some help? You don't need to use that against us.
Who are you?
Not Cybermen.
Bash. Bosh.
What's
Okay.
that?
This cockle is a neural inhibitor system.
A what?
Yeah, I didn't have a clue either.
Okay.
The doctors customised it to project particles of gold into the air. Cybermen are allergic to gold, right?
Yeah, pretty rudimentary.
Yeah, you got a better one?
We ain't got nothing. Oi, Fusco, here. It's my little brother. He don't
Okay.
say much, not anymore. It's a force field, mate. And people, it's got to be good news. Will you tell him what it does?
It should fry any Cyberman that comes near.
See? We're gonna be all right.
I was a teacher. Ravio was a nurse. We got a childminder, a driver, a builder. We're just ordinary humans. Refugees.
Yep.
And we've all lost everything. And everyone.
Cyber heads? Cyber drones. Okay. We might have seen that before because she recognized them. I just don't. I mean, of course they are. I thought they would do a little bit more. Well, it's not actual Cybermen, so the suppression thing is not gonna do a lot. Well, that wasn't direct hits. They could be alive. Could. No, he's gone.
Bescott, you and Ravio get the grav rough started. Ethan and I'll grab the supplies.
Systems didn't stop them, Doc.
No, he didn't.
No. They destroyed everything we brought with us. I know.
We haven't got anything else to defend ourselves or them.
I know! Do not argue. Go with the humans. Help them, get them out of here. You won't make it back to the TARDIS alive. Make sure you're with them.
What about you?
I'll hold them off.
How are you going to do that?
This isn't a discussion. We're not just gonna leave you. Yes, you are. You have to, all of you. No questions. Get out. I've been so reckless with you. What are you talking about? You're human. If they capture you, they'll convert you. Get safe now! Here to stop you for good this time. It's just you and me.
There's more.
Or not.
God damn it. They really didn't make it far at all. Well, now we gotta go. Ryan got separated. Fuck. Stakes are so high immediately.
They haven't got here by now. That thing must have got them. Look, we've only come in here for shelter, and our friends are still out there. Sit down! And our friends are still outside.
No, you need to let us out! It's too late!
Yeah, it is. We're going. Well, immediately separated. Okay.
What are you still doing here? I told you to get out.
We got separated. Hey, what's that?
Final fallback option.
Okay.
To get us out alive.
So this guy is still here. And that guy is still there. Okay.
I know you're here.
Shut up. Shut up. Don't say anything.
I'm here.
Well, god damn it.
It's just me. No one else.
I could see him hiding on the other side.
You show courage.
You must be trying to
But
protect
you're a
him.
liar.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
Should I let you live?
you know we need these guys in order to make more Cybermen, right?
Maybe tell the tale. Spread my message. Tell them. Be afraid. All humanity have been erased. All life will fall, and the Cybermen will rise again.
Not if I have anything to do with it.
There we go. What's that? A straight up grenade. Oh, I don't like those controls. They look like a conversion place. Shouldn't have made our ship so sturdy. Yeah, what is this? What is this we're seeing right here? I don't think this is real because of the filter that was there immediately that I noticed. It looked like a dream. Is this happening inside someone's head? Like inside the Cyberman's head or something? Because that was a weird cut.
Why do you want to be a guard, Brendan? I want to make a difference. I was with him the day he found you.
Yeah, like, I'm very suspicious of this because I'm not sure if these characters are supposed to have aged, but they don't look like they have.
90%. We won't make it at all if you push it past 90.
Make it where? To Kosharmas. And the boundary.
What's that?
It's where we've been trying to get to.
Supposedly a way out of this galaxy.
Supposedly.
A gateway, a direct route out of here into another random part of the universe. We get through there, the Cybermen can't follow.
What if they warp to Gallifrey?
Energy
Well,
cells compromised.
shit.
Content's getting critical. It's gonna blow. Get down!
Ian, maybe we're already ahead. What?
We went ahead of it. Yeah, he's really good at this.
Taught me how to hijack cyber ships, how to take them apart, how to burn them to the ground.
We will find you.
Yeah. Have you not asked that great slab of cyber AI you absorbed about me? I'm the doctor. Consult the Siberian, mate. I've stopped you lots so many times before, and I'll do it again. Time after time after time.
No. The Siberian does know you. Both you and humanity will be destroyed, and I shall bring the cyber race to its greatest ever glory. I was a willing recruit, but as I took my rightful place as I began my blessed ascension, I was denied. At first, I cursed myself, hid in the shadows, ashamed. But now I understand. I was not discarded. I was chosen to revive the glory of the cyber race.
You despise who you are. The anger and hatred that's driving you.
Where do you think it comes from?
Those are human emotions.
Which is something that you would
Real
not
Cybermen,
have.
They don't do emotions.
Yeah,
So you
that's true.
loathe your own being because of what's driving you. Now that's what I call an inner conflict.
Yes. You are correct.
Oh, am I? Didn't expect you to take it that well.
Yeah.
The Siberian has given me understanding.
You have ascended.
It has distilled my purpose. I am the perfect vessel. Everything is in me for the ascension of the Cybermen.
Into human?
What do you mean beyond?
All your deaths.
Does he want to turn Cybermen into... Crackpot theory. What if the Cybermen are the origin of the Time Lords? If that turns out to be the case, I'm taking full credit for that shit. Because, like, it sounds like he's trying to make Cybermen turn into something else. And I was like, turn back into human, but then I got reminded the fact that the timeless child shit still hasn't been resolved. So, okay.
Look, I know you don't want to use that.
Ooh, that's, yeah, okay.
Brendan!
He's dead. Yeah. He's not. How is he not? How is it? Did he have a fucking watch that stopped the bullet or whatever? Or is he just not human? Oh, he's totally fine. He has no wound.
I was lucky.
No, you're not human, dude. You're not people. Is this fucking Superman? Okay, y'all still alive somehow.
What are those noises? Passing through the old battlegrounds when everything failed.
Oh, we're just... It's just at the beginning when we saw a bunch of, like, Cybermen parts? Yeah. Yeah. That's all the old battlefields.
What else can you see?
A cyber ship.
Dormant ships?
So now we gotta go into one of those. And hopefully that will give us... Hopefully we can survive in one of those ships, right?
Channel the remaining energy off those systems.
That's what you need. Burst of acceleration.
Might work.
We have no other option here. We're just gonna die slowly, or...
You thought the oxygen will be dead.
We'll be dead anyway! Yes!
We must be mad.
Not mad.
Hopeful.
Wow, can't believe that shit made it in. What's inside though?
Too lucky.
We're not lucky, Sunshine. We're persistent. We never give up.
We make our own luck. And now they're following them because it's like, well, these guys just kind of know what they're doing, I assume.
The trial of a human craft ends here. The site of our greatest defeat. And soon, a shrine for our rebirth.
I'm worried that they're gonna convert those 5.
Anyone hear me? Anyone there on Coach Sharmus? Talk to me.
Okay, the doctors get into Kosh Harmus. A sage.
Calling Coach Sharmus.
Coach Sharmus responding. Hello?
We've made it.
This is the doctor. Who's that?
I told you. This is Coach Sharmus.
Oh, that's his name. It's not a place.
There are no more humans.
Well, we've got news for you. First things first, we're on a stolen cyber ship, but we're not Cybermen, we're friendly, and there's more on the way.
Very much looking forward to meeting you.
What if this Kosh Harmus person is not actually like... Is this Brendan? But also, like, there's no passing or anything. It's just a dude who was asking for help.
What are you laughing at?
You.
What about me?
You've come a long way, Graham O'Brien.
Thanks, Jess.
Everyone has.
Water carrier.
So there should be some bullshit in the ship. Not necessarily, because maybe they all got taken out and they all died on the battlefield, but the Cybermen said...
Settlement ship. So we find the best habitable planet.
That could work.
Oh, careful, son. You sounded slightly positive there for a sec.
The Cybermen said this was a place of our greatest fall, but it will be a place of a revert. What if there's like 500,000 Cybermen stored in this ship? Just dormant? And what if he's gonna reawaken them? Something like that.
To think we're in with a good chance of surviving today.
Oh, not just today. You still got a lot of life ahead of you.
Well, I hope.
She's dead in like 2 scenes, bro. Like...
Let's have a butcher's. Butcher's hook. Look. It's Cockney rhyming slang. No, don't worry about it.
She's
You are really strange.
a little
Excuse
bit.
me, I'm the most normal bloke you're ever going to meet.
That's also
It's a compliment. I like strange.
They're gonna fuck. Are they gonna be dormant Cybermen or something? Yep. Feet, legs, pelvis, torso, helmet. It's Foundation. It's Foundation. It's Foundation. One of the old ones. Well, it's not really. Just the head it is. Everything else is kind of way more modern. Maybe this is the new Cyberman redesign. Fuck.
3 of you. Not just 1, but 3 of you.
Much more than he would have hoped.
There's me having lost all hope.
You fought in the war?
Yes. For a long time. Then I was captured and held in a human internment camp for processing. Sent for upgrade. I was one of the lucky ones who got away. We had heard tell of this place. We didn't really believe it, but we managed to get here. The war hadn't made it this far, so we built shelter, and over time others came. I helped everyone else through the boundary.
And someone has to stay in order to be the...
And then, because I'm an idiot, I felt like it was my duty to wait in case others came.
So that could be true, or it could be the fact that one person has to stay in order for everyone to cross.
The boundary, it's real.
Of course it's real.
Will you show us?
Graham, Ravio, head to the control deck. Cybermen just boarded.
Okay. Luckily, the Cybermen don't really run. They just kind of power walk.
We cannot take Cybermen to the boundary.
Yeah.
What are our other options?
Blow ourselves up and die.
We're gonna keep all of you safe. We're gonna find the doctor.
Okay.
And we're gonna take them Cybermen down.
I like this determination.
Awaken, my soldiers.
Oh my god! Ay, 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 ay! Ba-dum, bam, what is it doing? Sorry, I was making a Joker reference.
A Cyberman that makes other Cybermen scream.
He's converted them into something else. Not just regular Cybermen. Is it a portal that opens?
I hope they're alive and well elsewhere.
That's quite a risk everyone's taken.
Yeah, it just takes you to a random point.
If you want to see it, step closer.
Oh, there we go. That's some bullshit portal.
It's a sad day for us all here.
What is this?
But if any man can be said to have earned a peaceful retirement, it's our Brendan.
Time skip for this man. Who is this guy? Who is it? No, I don't think he looks anything like the guy on Jadoon. The one dude with Ruth. I don't think it looks like him, so no. They haven't aged at all, right?
Would you mind coming with us to the back office?
They haven't aged at all. The dad and the officer. I wasn't crazy. What is this? Clock. Did something reflected on the clock, like a window or something? Thought it was like a tortoise window. But I think I'm just seeing tortoises everywhere now. What are they gonna do to him?
We have to get rid of everything, I'm afraid. Thank you for your service. We're sorry you won't remember it.
Or just a straight up electric chair? No, I think it's a combustion of sorts. What's happening? What is those things are gonna come together, but I'm trying to figure out which way. They're waking up, but how? What did he do to those Cybermen? Did it turn them more into like, did it give them all emotions? Anger?
Looking for the doctor, all frequencies. Yaz looking for the doctor.
Can she? Yeah, he can hear. Okay.
We can hear you. Can you hear me?
We're on a cyber battle cruiser with that cyber guy and a lot of cyber troops that are waking up.
Yes, get off that ship now.
We can! Stop the transmission, and then whenever we find a TARDIS, we're gonna go back and save you. What's that? Gallifrey. Yeah, to fucking...
I've never seen it look like that before.
That's my home planet. That's Gallifrey.
Look like that before. Is Gallifrey founded by the human survivors of the Cyber Wars? Is that the origin of Gallifreyans? I think that's it. Master!
It's a good entrance, right?
Is the episode gonna end right here?
Be afraid, Doctor.
Fuck you.
Because everything is about to change. Forever.
Fuck you! Give me something, man! Don't just leave me hanging like that. Fuck. Like, that episode was entirely set up. Okay. Discussion. That episode was, like, entirely set up. Entirely. Okay, so... Sure, that is a two-parter finale. That's what that was. Stakes became high right away, which I appreciate. I appreciate whenever we have high stakes. It's not just some adventure that we're in. It's like, no. Last episode we said stakes are gonna become high. They immediately became high. So we immediately dropped into the coordinates that Shelley gave us, which led us to a random planet, whatever, where there were 7 humans left alive. And those were the last humans alive in this side of the galaxy. That's what the doctor said. Okay. And there were also the last Cybermen hunting them down. Because that's what it eventually comes down to. Like I'm not sure why he would hunt them down. Because, like, if you would... Why is he killing them? Because you want to convert them, ideally, right? In order to get more Cybermen around you. So that is something that I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, I guess the answer can be, like, because he has emotions, so he is angry, and he's just killing people because of it, you know, instead of being practical and converting them. I don't know. So, apparently he's the only one left, and the other 2 Cybermen that are with him are probably not human Cybermen, like converted. They're probably like AIs or something like that. That's what I'm assuming. There's also like cyber heads flying around. The doctor actually gave them a name. and I think they must have been some classic stuff because she knew what to call them, but I didn't, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, we immediately get separated. The Doctor and Ryan get separated from Graham and Yas. And Graham and Yas go into a ship with the remaining survivors of 3 people, because 2 died on the conflict and then 2 died on the aftermath that didn't get on the ship. Only 3 remain. Those 3 went with Graham and Yas, and they went on this like piece of shit ship that just didn't have anything. And they just didn't have any resources. It just kind of blew up from the inside, like, fuck it. And then it's like, okay, we're just gonna slowly die here in space. And then they saw a cyber ship, a carrier cyber ship from the old war battlegrounds that were left over in space. So they just went into that carrier ship because they were like, well, this is like the only thing we can do. Like, we're just gonna float here in space and die eventually, so we just might as well just use whatever power we have left in order to get in there. So they did that. By getting in there, eventually they realized that this war carrier ship must be carrying Cybermen, which it totally did. And then the last Cyberman with his 2 henchmen follow them, and now has infiltrated that ship and has awakened all the other Cybermen. Sure. What I want to say, though, is that okay, first of all, JoJo reference, and I couldn't help myself. When he said, "Awaken my soldiers," I was like, that's good. Wamu! Yeah. It's a reference to something. I'm sorry if you don't get it, but it's like, I immediately went into meme mode because it was too much. But, after that, he started doing something to a Cyberman. I don't know what he was doing. He was like doing something to his chest, just like, and the Cyberman was screaming. And it's like, okay, what are you doing? And I want to say that Cyberman, the last Cyberman, has actually implied that he will make the Cybermans ascend into something greater or something like that, which makes me think that and he also said that, like, his emotions allowed him to have a clarity, and the fact that he was, I think he was like, he what did he say? It's like he wasn't like drafted to be like army sergeant or whatever. Like, he was kind of like shunned, and they didn't give him full like attention or whatever. And that gave him clarity alongside with his emotions and his faulty conversion. And I think that will... He's saying that allowed him to realize what he has to do. So, I think he's going to try and make the Cybermen evolve into something different and greater, according to him. What we need to understand, though, is what that means. And the immediate assumption to me was, like, to make the Cybermen more human. Sure, that's a weird thing, because it's like, first of all, the Daleks had already tried that. We legitimately have tried that with the Daleks a couple seasons ago already. Second, the Cybermen are already part human. So that just means we just have to do the same shit, except less restrictions on what their conversion is. You know, that's what that would mean. But I don't think he was referring to that. I'm not sure what he was talking about when he said making the Cybermen ascend further, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what he wants to do. And at one point in my head, I was thinking, what if the Cybermen become like the Gallifreyans or the Time Lords or whatever? Like, what if that was the case? Because in my head, I was thinking, well, we didn't get to resolve what the fuck that whole Timeless Child storyline was going to be. And it seemed like it was going to be the storyline for this season. So I was like, that has to come around somewhere. And my immediate thought was like, maybe the Cybermen become the precursor to Gallifreyans. Like, the lone Cyberman makes them evolve into some time being shit, which eventually turns into Time Lords and Gallifreyans. Sure. Let's say sure. But based on what the final the final scene that the episode gave me, I don't think that that's what it is. Because here's the thing, is that, so on the other side of the story, the Doctor and Ryan and this other guy, I don't remember his name, but that fucking kid, they all managed to escape on a stolen cyber ship, sure, and then they went to, I don't remember the name of the place, it was the name of a dude actually, let me look at the credits, Kosharmas. So they went to the place of Kosharmas, which they told us that people are trying to go to Kosharmas, which is, they thought it was a place, it was just one dude. And that place, and that dude, they allow you, there's like a passage where you can go into, and it will take you to another place in the universe, just randomly. And that gives people hope, because that is a free roll of the dice. That is a free, like, get me the fuck out of here, let's see where we go. And hope that you get something better than this, you know? And right now you're in a situation where you're one of the last few people alive, and you are being actively hunted down to die by beings greater than you. So it's like, okay, let's just roll the dice, see where we land. Sure, I believe that. I actually think that's a pretty fun concept. So the Doctor, Ryan, and the dude, they travel all the way to Kosharmas, and we meet Kosharmas, and it's apparently a dude, and it's an old man. It looks like a wise old sage, which I actually am a big fan of. I'm a big fan of the wise old sage character. He is, apparently he's staying there in order to be the person that receives new people that need to come in. So he decided to stay back instead of doing the passing himself, because he wants to be the person that receives anyone that might be like, hey, Kosharmas, you there? Where are we going? He's like, okay, here, right? He just wants to be that guy, apparently. I also said that maybe the requirements to do the passing require for someone to stay behind, and he was the dumbass that stayed behind, and now he wants to leave, and now the new people showed up, then he can ask those people, now he can just trick them into him passing and everyone else staying, or something like that. So, I thought that, but here's the thing, is that then the Doctor walked into the portal. It's just a straight up portal. The passing is just a straight up portal. She didn't walk into it, she just walked in front of it, and it activated. And when it activated, it turned into Gallifrey. And I was like, and what if it's Gallifrey? And then it was Gallifrey. So now I'm like, all right, cool. And here's the thing, though. This is something I want to point out. And it's the fact that whenever the Doctor activated the passing portal thing, Kosharmas looked at it, and, well, it turned into Gallifrey, right? And it was the destroyed version of Gallifrey that we have already seen earlier in the season. And Kosharmas said, I never seen it like that before. That to me tells me that Kosharmas has seen Gallifrey in that portal before. Like, you actually, like, the portal takes you to Gallifrey. Just straight up. And he has seen Gallifrey every time the portal opens. But this is the first time he sees it being destroyed. Sure. Okay. So, that means that, like, trying to put context into the timeless style thing with the founding fathers of Gallifrey lied to us about what we are, what we were, whatever, makes me think that that passing takes you to that planet, and it's just like a random ass occurrence in the universe. But the humans that survived, the refugees from the fucking cyber wars, they took the passage and they were taken into the planet that would become Gallifrey. And there might be some time dilation in the passing, or between one planet and the other. I don't know. Like, Gallifrey might actually be, like, next to, like, I don't know, fucking a black hole. Or some shit. Like, that, I don't think that was established. But, like, there could be some fuckery that makes time run at a different pace. Or there might be some time delay or whatever between a passing of the portal. And that means that every time that a human refugee was sent to Gallifrey, Gallifrey was getting... Okay, so Gallifrey society started with human refugees from the Cyber Wars. And they evolve into... Well, because Gallifreyans don't really have time shit, do they? Or any psychic shit, do they? I don't know. Because there's a difference between Gallifreyans and Time Lords, right? There's a difference. Time Lords is something that you have to go through like a ritual in order to become. And Gallifreyans are just random people that live in Gallifrey. I think that's the case. And I'm not sure if all Gallifreyans have any kind of like psychic powers or like... I don't think Gallifreyans regenerate either. So I don't know how that would go. But I think that if this episode implies what I think it's implying, that would mean that Gallifreyan society started as a human refugee colony from the Cyber Wars. And through the passing or whatever, they may have gained some latent whatever anomaly powers that allowed them to become Time Lords or some shit. Or, well, exposure to a time vortex. Maybe the passing is the time vortex. Maybe that's what it is. You know? Maybe that's the case. But, yeah, I think Gallifreyan society started by getting random human refugees from the Cyber Wars thrown into that planet. And over time, society advanced. And Kosh Armus here. Every time someone passed through that portal, he saw society thriving more and more so. And now he's seen it collapse to the last time because the Master destroyed it. And I think that's what the Master figured out. The Master discovered that Time Lords and Gallifreyans and all that society is actually built on human refugees. And he's like, fuck those dirty humans. I'm not one of them. And he just burned the whole thing down. Maybe that's what that was. I personally wouldn't freak out about that. I actually don't think this is as big as a revelation as like maybe they're implying it is. Because there's actually two things. It's that Time Lords just look like humans. Let's just be honest. And given you can say it's because, well, we just look whatever the actors need to portray us look like. That's the immediate reasoning. And then there's other two reasonings that you can come up with. And one of them is, well, all life forms evolve in a specific manner because that is, well, all life forms evolve. Okay, I need to phrase this correctly. All life forms that eventually evolve into a being that can become capable of space travel has to evolve in a very specific set of ways because it allows them for that evolution to go that route. Does that make any sense? It's essentially like you need to evolve to some degree to some kind of humanoid in order to go down that route of like interstellar travel. So that's why every alien that we see is humanoid. It's not just because the dude has to wear a costume, and it's not just because the viewer needs to somewhat relate to that. It's because that alien needs to be of that physiology in order for them to have gotten to that point, evolutionarily speaking, in the first place. I think that is a good explanation. The other explanation, which is the one that I think they're implying here, because up until this point I've been going based on the first explanation, now it seems that they're implying the latter, which is, no, humans are just the root source of everything. And Time Lords are just just humans. It's just future humans that become refugees from the Cyber Wars and eventually they evolve into Time Lords. We can say that that's the case. I think that that's what the implication was at the end of the episode, but we don't know for sure because I feel like we're gonna get a lecture next episode. We're gonna get an actual explanation as to what any of that was. The Master. Okay, so the Master showed up last second in the episode. It's like, fuck you. When he showed up, he was like, hey, what an entrance, eh? And I'm like, this episode is about to fucking end. I know it in my heart. And then he did, and I'm like, fuck you. He did say, everything's about to change forever. Yeah, be afraid, Doctor, because everything's about to change forever. I don't know what that means. Yeah. Because if he says that and then he says the thing that I just said, I'm gonna be a little bit, well, part of me is gonna be disappointed because I wanted something more. Another part of me is gonna be proud because I pierced all of it together. I don't think it was too difficult though. But I because I'm expecting it to be something greater because of the way he freaked the fuck out and just killed everyone, right? Like, why would he have done that? The moment he showed up again, I'm like, fuck, he's back. He's back. I'm glad he's back because I really like this master. He's really good, and I like the way he entered too. He's just like, whoa, whoa, what an entrance, eh? And I'm like, oh my god, okay, immediately. So that was pretty good. So here's the thing we need to talk about. Brandon. What the fuck? So at the beginning of the episode, we saw a dude just going through with a bike or whatever through like a road, like very farmlands place, and he just found a baby, just there, just sitting there, just a baby, and he was like, "Well, let's see what this is." It was a baby in a basket too. It's like it wasn't just a baby lying naked on the middle of the road. No, it was a baby in a basket, so it was presentable to some degree. That means that somebody left it there. Okay, so that baby was there. He just finds it, and then he's like, "Yo, cops!" Well, he takes it to his wife, and then the wife and the dude are like, "Yo, cops, cop! This dude is this baby showed up, and we don't know what the fuck the deal with it is." And the wife is like, "We'll take care of him." And I'm like, "Are you gonna steal a child?" And then she's like, "Well, until you find the parents." And I'm like, "Okay." I thought she was about to Joseph Joestar this child. But then they didn't find the parents, so they just adopted him, and that boy just grew up to be Brandon. And we saw him grow up. We saw several scenes of him growing up, and I have to say there was a weird filter. Immediately, the first scene there was a weird filter, so that made me think this is either A, way in the past, and a flashback to someone, B, not real, like a dream or something, or a simulation, and it has to be one of the two. So I still don't know what that was, because so we saw Brandon grew up, and Brandon eventually went to become a police officer, and he was like, "Hey, a policeman, I want to become a police officer." And it's like, "Why do you want to do that?" And he's like, "Because I want to make a difference." And this is something important about that scene, and it's the fact that I saw that scene and I was looking at the cop and I was like, "You don't look like you've aged." But I was like, well, maybe it's just a thing of like the acting, like the actors that we got, and it's like we didn't have time to do the makeup or the CGI. Maybe they did, it just wasn't very noticeable. Because honestly, I don't pay attention to many things. So I was like, well, maybe it's just in my head. Maybe that's just me. But the fact that we saw Brandon go from like a baby to like 25 years old, I'm like, I think you should have looked older. And the dad, I don't think looked that older either, but it was the cop the one that made me go like, oh, really? Because it was the same cop. Then Brandon got shot by like a thief or something. He was like, "Hey, you don't want to do something or whatever," with the gun, and then the dude shot him in the heart, and then he fell through a cliff. And oh yeah, I have the pride flag here. Sorry, I was just fiddling with that. I didn't even notice, but yeah. Okay, so he shot him. He fell, and then he's just and then. Okay, here's the thing. That simulation to some degree, or like mind shit. Because what I'm thinking is, every scene, like every time that we went to like Brandon scenes, the cop was there or the dad was there, like every scene, which makes you think that they're like the observers of the simulation. And the one that is the weirdest is that he fell through a cliff, and then at the bottom of the cliff, the cop rumps in, and he's like, "No, Brandon, are you okay?" And it's like, why were you there in the random cliff in the middle of fuck nowhere? Why were you there? Like, maybe you were both chasing the one guy, and one of you took the... Why would you go below? Like if you tried to jump, but like that fall looked like a really big fall, so there would be no point in doing so. Like, I don't know what the cop was there, because as soon as it fell, the cop ran in like, "Oh, Brandon, are you okay?" It's like, why are you here? So yeah, then and like I didn't have time to even say anything about that, because he's like, "Brandon, are you okay?" And then Brandon woke up, and I'm like, "You got shot through the heart, man. What the fuck?" And I was like, "Are you Superman? Are you actually Superman? Is that your background?" And then they like look at like his wound or whatever, and he has no wound. It's like Kiryu in Yakuza 0. He got shot, and 3 hours later he was fine. He was shot like 5 times, and 3 hours later he was fine. He took off the bandages that there was no wound, and that was never addressed. But in this case it is, because in this case it's important. It's not a stupid video game like Yakuza 0, which I love, by the way. But like, that made me think he's Superman. But then the next time we see him, he's retiring. Like, that was him, right? It was Brandon. They were talking like, "Yo, Brandon, you made it, buddy," or whatever. I'm trying to find that scene again. Where was it? Thank you, Brandon. Brandon. Sorry, I was like Brandon. It's like, no, it's Brandon. Sorry. Okay, let me rewatch this scene. It's a sad day for us all here, but if any man can be said to have earned a peaceful retirement, it's our Brendan. On behalf of the local community and everyone past and present who you've helped, we'd like to present you with this memento. May we all live up to the standards you've set us. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, sir. Okay. I thought about it. And now I thought about it further, and I think I came up with an answer. So, I think that guy is the guy in episode 5, in Jadun. The one guy that had the medal. That one guy that had the medal. He kept the memento, and that's how they tracked him down. I think it's him. He doesn't look anything like him. But that's because at the end of the episode, he gets killed, and then he regenerates. That is a Time Lord. All of these people here are Time Lords. What I don't know is he walks away, and then he looks at the dad and the cop, and both of them are young. Both of them haven't aged a day, and that's when it dropped, and I was like, I wasn't crazy, I was right. I was actually right for once in my life. I wasn't just crazy because I didn't pay enough attention. No, I paid enough attention to notice a thing before it came together. So I'm happy about that. I never pay attention, as proven by this thing. But so I'm glad that came together. But now my question is, why are they young and why is he old? Hello, Brendan. Would you mind coming with us to the back office? Then he comes with them. There is a clock. Then there's a machine. We have to get rid of everything, I'm afraid. We're sorry you won't remember it. And then they just electrocute him in like an electrical chair. Okay. So, I think this is Gallifrey before becoming like a sci-fi planet, like a sci-fi futuristic society. It is just when it was a small human settlement. Okay, so there were human settlement, and then it eventually becomes a village, it becomes a town, and becomes multiple villages, multiple towns, it becomes a planet, right? And it becomes a giant society. I think that this is the beginnings after humans have settled there for like, I don't know, 200 years, something like that. And I don't know where this baby, Brandon, I forgot, Brendan. Okay, I don't know where this baby Brandon came from, and I don't know why he's different to everyone else. Because, like, but I think there's some Time Lord fuckery happening here. Because, like, okay, so they haven't aged a bit. Maybe they are Time Lords, because they haven't aged. Why does Brendan age? Because I'm thinking that he regenerates, but then, what if that machine is a Time Lord conversion machine? What if that's the way you become a Time Lord? At least in that age. Like, what if they're running experiments for immortality, essentially, by using the Time Vortex energy, whatever the fuck that is that in Gallifrey? What if they do that? They were running experiments in order to turn immortal, and they became immortal. Like they became Time Lords, and they're running Brendan through it so that he may become a Time Lord as well, because they have determined that he is fitting, he is worthy, maybe. Or maybe everyone is a Time Lord, but that baby's not, so we gotta turn him into a Time Lord eventually, and then they did. And they forced a regeneration on him. And then he becomes the man that we saw on episode 5. Because, like, that medal, that is something that didn't come back yet. And I think should. You know what else hasn't come back yet? Ruth. What the fuck was the deal with that shit? This finale has a lot of questions to answer. It really does. The more I think about it, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Okay, so I think I figured out what that Brandon thing was, what that whole story was. So that would mean it's real. It's not a simulation. It's not a dream. It would mean that it's actually Gallifrey after the settlement, like a couple centuries in the future. Could be thousands. We don't know. Yo, what the fuck's the timeless shawl though? Like, what the fuck is that about now? Like, the more answers I come up with, the more questions I have, because it doesn't make sense. So that, obviously that means that I'm wrong, or that I just don't have all the answers. But like, dude, this finale, man, this finale is setting itself up for failure, because it's like, there is a lot you gotta give to me here. And I'm not saying it won't. I'm expecting it will, because usually you want to write with all of these things already in mind. So as long as the answer is satisfactory, then you already have an answer, you know? It will be okay. It's not like the show is being written forwards. Like, they're coming up with ideas as they go on. So as long as they don't do that, which they don't, then I think we'll be good. But I'm just like, fuck, man, I want answers. What the fuck is this whole thing about? What the fuck is Brendan about? What the fuck was that dude in episode 5 about? What the fuck is Ruth about? What the fuck was Jack on about? And how did he figure all this stuff out? What are the Cybermen doing? What is this Ascension thing that he wants to do? What is the deal with Gallifrey? What is the deal with the Time Lord? What is the deal with the Master? Like, the timeless fucking child, man. I don't know. Fuck. Like, I'm assuming, like, people were just like, bro, give me an answer. Like, whenever the final episode was about to air, people were like, just give me a fucking answer, man. Just like, people were tuning in for that finale just to be like, give me something. Don't just leave me hanging, which is my exact reaction to this episode. Fuck. So that's how I feel about it. It's like, okay, is there anything else to talk about? Because it's like, that whole Brendan thing is like, what the fuck? I really like the surviving. I really like all of these human survivors. I really like what the Cybermen is doing. I really like the JoJo reference. Question: does Chris Chibnall watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? And was that reference knowingly? Did he make an actual JoJo reference? Or did he not? did he just happen to write something that sounded like a JoJo reference? I think it was accidental, but it's close enough that it could have been deliberate. So for those of you who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, okay, I'm just gonna Google. I'm just gonna look this up on YouTube and see if you can find it. Yeah, so Google "Awaken My Masters," and there's a video with 184,000 views right now, and it's called. It has like a couple Japanese letters, and then it says "Awaken My Masters HD," and it's a character that wakes up from being dormant, and then at the end of the video, you can skip to the end of the video if you want, to like 1minute and 25 seconds or something like that. He walks up to his 2 dormant masters, and then he goes, "Wamu!" And then he goes, "Awaken my masters." And that scene is highly referential and memeable. Like, every single JoJo fan knows that scene because they know the fucking song. They know the fucking song because the song fucking slaps. So fucking good. That's also my alarm for my phone. Whenever I need to wake up, I'm just like, ay. It's really efficient because it starts and then the beat drops and then it's like, that's when you wake up. That's when you open your eyes. It's so fucking good. Sorry I'm talking so much about JoJo, but it's like, I want to know, does Griff Chibnall know JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Does he? Or was that accidental? Let me look at this scene again. Because he goes to his dormant comrades and goes and touches him and goes, "Awaken my soldiers." I'm like, that's too close. That's too close. That has... I mean, it doesn't have to have been, but I want it to be so bad. I want it to be an actual reference so bad. Well, at least I made the reference, okay? At least I did. And I'm sure maybe some other reactor has. Like, I'm assuming there are Doctor Who reactors who like JoJo. There has to have. But if not, then I will be the first person to take the napkin. I don't think I was, but if not, then I will. Okay. I think that's the final note to leave on. Like, I think we talk about... There's no after credits. No, that's the next time. Yeah. So... I think we talk about everything, like the mystery of what the fuck the Lone Cyberman is doing. What is this Ascension thing? What is the deal with the Gallifreyans, the Time Lords? Why the Master is here? What is it about to say? What is the deal with Brandon? How is Yas, Graham, and the other 3 gonna get out of this? Like, stakes are really high too. Stakes were really high for the entire episode, and I appreciated that. I really did. That was like the first thing I said though. But like, you guys know this already. But it's like, I like how Yas and Graham have some kind of initiative. I really do like that. It's pretty good. Yeah, I think that's about everything. I think that's about everything we can cover here. I just want to know what the fuck happens next episode. The next episode is the final episode, isn't it? It's the final episode, not only of the season, but the final episode of Doctor Who we have. At least at the time of recording this. Man. Fuck. That makes you sad. But what are you gonna do? I guess we have a classic. And I'm gonna watch Torchwood. Whenever I'm done with this, I'm starting Torchwood, by the way. I don't think I made that public on anything other than comments. But as soon as I'm done with Series 12, we're starting Torchwood next week. So, not next week, 2 weeks from now, because that would be after the finale. I don't think there's anything else after the finale. And I think the finale is next week. So that, but yeah, I'm thinking of shit and I cannot come up with anything. So yeah, I'm just not. We'll look forward to next week for whatever that fuck is about to come. So yeah. Doctor Who, y'all. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching this reaction episode to Doctor Who. If you would like to see next week's episode already, the finale, it should already be up on Patreon as well as full length. Check out the links in the description and I'll see you next time, okay? Take care.